After a few months in hiatus, it is the return of 260 minutes overtime. This is just the third overtime set from the project. The break was just because I haven't really done any exclusively new sets. I've been working on the 260 minutes originals material, working on tagging it up, rewriting it, changing it so that it works more regularly in preparation for the Best Of special happening early next year, early 2014. More details on that will be figured out and released in the coming months, I hope. Tonight's set I'm looking forward to because it's kind of like getting back on the bike, so to speak. I have three big chunks. One is kind of an alternative piece, kind of. I play an audio track that's just goofy, and I hope the crowd comes along. The second chunk is about my travels through Vietnam on kind of a big scale, nothing really specific. And then I also have a bit about funerals. Comedy is kind of about the process of comedy as we got to this point. So I'm going to share with you my process of comedy. When I'm walking around in my everyday life, which I have, I like have a thought and I'll record it into my iPhone. So I'll be sitting there like, sure, I drink mostly water. Beer is mostly water. And then I try to turn that into something later. But sometimes, because I'm a human, I am sleepy or drunk. So I hear a note from myself that I have no idea that I recorded. And I gotta try to figure out what it is, because obviously it was important enough to record. So I'm gonna share with you tonight one of those things that I recorded, and we're gonna try to like put the clues together and figure out what it actually was. Here's the note I recorded.
The implication is that it's just sent, they're not a part of the group that was a part of, they're part of the group that they actually hate. And so your general status of everything would see it happen, and everybody would have the same insult.
So that, I start with the time that I recorded it at. It was September 24th at 11:34 p.m. I then check my credit card statement, and according to it, I wasn't at a bar. So I look at my calendar, and that day I spent all day volunteering for Nenchi's campaign. It was touch and go there for a while. And then at night, I was at a sketch reading for the troupe that we're all a part of, so it was just dick jokes. So somewhere between lawn signs and dick jokes, not drunk, one more time.
The implication is that it's just sent, they're not a part of the group that was a part of, they're part of the group that they actually hate. And yeah, but you could set it to your general status of everything would see it happen, and everybody would have the same insult.
So clearly somebody was pissed about their lawn sign order, and I made a dick joke about them, like I didn't know. So then I figured, well, maybe there'd be like context, like as I'm running through my day, they're all kind of related, all the notes that I make. So the note immediately before this was it was a thought that I had that when I live downtown, so I don't go to a recycling depot, I just drop the bottles and cans out behind in the dumpster and somebody picks them up. But one day I went outside and there was a guy there, and he just took the cans, and he left the bottles, so apparently beggars can be choosers. The note immediately after that was that I think that if somebody time traveled from Victorian times, they wouldn't be most shocked by like iPhones or airplanes. They'd be most shocked by oral sex. They'd have their mind blown. They come from a time when gentlemen didn't remove their jacket around a woman because of the smell. And there was no razors. Like I just figure you'd be there like, oh, you put your mouth on what? So that wasn't helpful, so I went one more after that. The note after that was, I don't realize that I'm flirting with a girl until they mention their boyfriend in the most awkward way possible. Like she'll sneeze and I'll be like Gesundheit, and she'll be like, you know who else sneezes into? It's my boyfriend. And I don't know that I'm doing it, I swear to God I don't. It's like when you hear your voice on a tape recorder. You're just like, oh my God, is that me? Am I that charming? Oh. I don't know what connects those three thoughts. Smell is the only one that I can think of. Like the first two about a kind of smelly person, the last one is just bullshit. So I think that the ultimate result of this is that, no, that's not a joke. Moving on. I then found that there was actually 2 drafts in my Facebook folder. I use an app that can like time it, so it sends it out. So it saved drafts of an update. And there were 2 updates in a row, and one of them said something to the effect of, if you're reading this, I've put you on a list, which means you're one of my closest friends. And the second update was an update that said, if you're reading this, I just tricked all those other assholes. And they were all wide open public. I guess ultimately what it means is that I paid cash that night at the bar. This summer I went traveling through Vietnam, and traveling is the worst. Don't get me wrong, I mean that. Holy shit. It's not so bad like once you get there, but before you go, everybody is just a shit to you. Like they're just jealous or something. Like it's the first time I've ever done like a trip like that, so all my friends were just so condescending. Like, oh, look at you growing up. Oh. And I was just like, screw up. And everybody said something that was like positive and then really negative. Like, oh, you're gonna have so much fun with diarrhea. Really excited now. I didn't travel to find myself, I traveled to lose everybody else. The first thing they say when I went to Vietnam, the number one thing that I heard was, watch out for ladyboys. First of all, that's Thailand, you racists. But I think it's fantastic that it's so common in Thailand that it's spread from Thailand into all of Southeast Asia. Like a venereal disease. It's just gone out there like the ladyboys have. Okay, no, all right, no, fuck that. The other bit of advice when I went to Vietnam was, don't drink the water, but try the soup. Okay, what's in the soup? Oh, like vegetables and noodles and beef and water? Yeah, okay, give me your first bit of advice again with that knowledge in mind. Don't fuck the ladyboys. No, okay, the second bit of advice. Don't drink the water, but have the soup. Oh, no, it's fine, it's boiled. Which is the same as saying fuck the ladyboys, but wear a condom. Or boil your penis, either or, it'll work. The only really kind of like funny thing that happened, it was a good trip, but the only thing that happened, I almost didn't get let into Vietnam because I look so much older than I actually am, that the customs official didn't think I was the age that I am. He was so, like, what? How's that possible? So I thought that maybe it was because I was, off a flight and I had my glasses on. So I take off the Clark Kent and give him the Superman, and he asks for a second piece of ID. Clearly I need to stop drinking. Then he leans in to his buddy at the booth there, and he says to his friend, he says something in Vietnamese. I don't speak one word of Vietnamese, which is why I didn't have a ladyboy, because an important part of sex for me is the apology. And he leaned in, and I'm not going to imitate what he said, because that just can't not sound racist. I'm too white. So I'm not going to imitate it at all. But I just knew in his head, he was saying to his friend, look at this fucker, I thought they had healthcare in Canada. Holy shit. Oh, ended poorly. All right, moving on. I've been to, I've been to like 2 funerals this month already, and I just found out about a third one today. It's just the worst. I'm also the worst. Actually, there was something important on that piece of paper. I got excited. I was like, I got this. No, you don't. Get it together, man. When I found out about the third funeral, this is how I know I'm fucked up. I was like, wow, I've had a really rough month. I can think of 3 people that have had a worse month, actually. I should have left that on the ground. Okay. I'm useless at funerals because I'm an atheist, and there's nothing to say. And I emphasize, I try not to be a jerk about it. Like, I go to the church, I participate, I don't bring like science textbooks and start like throwing them at people. I just go, and I'm very polite and respectful. I nod politely when people say they're in a better place. I stand up when the church stands up, and I stifle my laugh when they light the candle of release. Not because it was the 6th fucking candle that they lit, just like, oh, mystery, life, oh, so many. But because when I heard candle of release, all I could picture was a dildo with a wick.
I know, I'm sorry, I'm being, like, gross about it, but, like, they're like, no, it's the candle of release. I'm like, what's it scented like? Don't ask. It's salty like the ocean. It is. I thought that would go way better. I don't... Because humor is my defense mechanism. Obviously, this is what I do. In fact, at my grandpa's pre-cremation viewing, I physically hurt myself restraining from a joke. I honest to God did. My dad, before going in, was like, oh, I lost a button on the bottom of this shirt. And I popped a blood vessel in my eye, not saying, you think he'll notice? It's a good thing Grandpa was dead. I killed in his eulogy. Holy shit. More laughs than I ever got in Cranbrook, I'll tell you that right now. Here's the thing, as an atheist, though, I think we tend to focus on the better thing to focus on. Like, we're talking about who they were as a person and in life, and not where they are now. Like, if we talked about people and ourselves the way we talk about people at a funeral, or like try to pick somebody up that way, I think our species would be extinct. Like, nobody's sitting at a bar like, well, I'm sitting cross-legged on this stool, I've got makeup on and look very lifelike. No. Oh, I skipped the part I wrote today. Let's just give it a go. The only thing I don't do, and this is like a weird line for me, and I always feel like a dick. When I'm in the church, I don't say the prayers and I don't sing the hymns. And I know it's like, it doesn't matter that much to me, it's just I'm worried about the family. I think it would sound really sarcastic if I did. Like how you would talk to a child about Santa. You know, like, oh, who's bringing presents? Like, that's how I would sing Amazing Grace, just all in air quotes. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Most singing ever done. I'll tell you this before I go, when I die, because I really don't want to make a will. I have nothing to give away. My rule for me is just take anything you can use, any organ, and burn the rest. You will not want the liver. I promise you that, and you will not want to burn it either. Because I drink mostly water, and beer is mostly water. See how that happens? Yeah. I knew you'd like that. I think if you burned... you only want to burn my liver in the crematorium if you're looking for the insurance money on that in crematorium. Like, if you just want to turn it into a mushroom cloud, then you'd be fine. So, I should have left 1 second earlier. Thank you all so much. $1.30 for Satan's lies, Jesus! No longer welcome at that Husky station. I do think, however, that...
You know, I legitimately forgot how much fun it is to do a set of all new. It's been a while for me. I've just been working on everything, but the rush, the adrenaline, everything, the desperation to make it work is a lot of it. It was the inspiration and one of the reasons that I did 260 minutes in the first place, and it was great to come back to that. I like a lot of that. I think I went one beat too long in almost everything. There was just one more little thing that, like the second last punchline was a little bit better than the last punchline in almost every case. So I'll take that to the drawing board. I'm looking forward to trying to play the audio file again. In most situations, I have to like play it off my iPhone into the mic, so I hope that that works okay. I also ended up that callback that I wrote for like the end of the set where I do the joke about the drinking mostly beer again. That just came out of like the 5 minutes before the show, and I'm really glad that worked. I'm going to find a way to work that into other shows as well.